Hey guys, Mr. Wilson here. Today we're going to talk about angle pair relationships. At the end of this video, you should be able to identify vertical angles, adjacent angles, complementary angles, and supplementary angles. And you should be able to use the relationships between angle pairs to find missing information. Okay. There are four types of angle pairs we will look at in this lesson. Most of them have special relationships that will be used to find missing information. Okay, adjacent angles are two angles with a common vertex and a common side. So notice we have these two angles here, angle A, angle B. They share this vertex, but they also share this side. Well, I shouldn't say, side, ray. Vertex and ray. Ray's probably better. Let's use that. Okay. Vertical angles are two angles whose sides form two pairs of opposite rays. Okay. In other words, these angles are opposite one another when two lines cross. Okay, so you see here we have angle 133 here. This angle X will also be 133 degrees. Okay, vertical angles are never adjacent. Okay, they are never adjacent. They share a vertex, but they do not share a ray or side. Complementary angles are two angles whose measures add to 90 degrees. And supplementary angles are two angles whose measures add to 180 degrees. Okay, both complementary angles and supplementary angles are sometimes adjacent. So I'll put sometimes there because they can be adjacent, but they are not always. Alright, so in these examples we're given a few angles and we're going to give them the most specific names that we can. So, name the most specific angle pair being illustrated. So we have one angle that's 27 here. We have one angle that's 63 degrees. They are not adjacent angles because, well, they don't touch. They don't share a vertex or a side. But they do add up to 90, so they are complementary. Complementary. Add up to 90 degrees. Okay, angle 1 and angle 3 are adjacent. I'll say they are adjacent. And something else I see about angle 1 and 3 is that they are supplementary. Supplementary. And I can tell that because they make up a straight line, and that's 180 degrees. Angle 3 and 4 are vertical angles. Vertical. Okay, share vertex, they're opposite sides where two lines cross to make opposite rays. Angle B and angle A are adjacent. And that's as much as I can say about them. Okay, looks like it's about 90 degrees, but they really don't give us that 90 degree box, so I can't just assume that it is. They're adjacent. Okay, on the back side, have a few questions here. Name a pair of adjacent angles. So adjacent angles I could call, let's say, a bunch of them, I guess, but I'll just say K and J, angle K and J, and angle K and J, and angle J and I. Okay, so K and J and angle J and I are a pair of adjacent angles. There are more, so you could say angle INM and MNL. A pair of vertical angles, I would go with angle MNL and angle INJ. A pair of supplementary angles, I'd go two angles that make a line, so JNL, angle J, I'll say JNK, and angle so JNK and MNK. And a pair of complementary angles. Remember, supplementary is 180 degrees. So you can tell that by a straight line. Complementary is 90 degrees. And I usually look for a 90-degree box, so I don't assume. And so I have one. So JNI, angle JNI would be part of it. And the other part would be angle JNI, JNK. Okay, so you can look through those and see how they work out, how you can tell the lines are complementary, supplementary, adjacent, all that stuff. Okay. Alright, we'll now look at some theorems concerning these angle pairs. Theorems are statements that can be proven true or verified. Proved. Alright, so conditional, if two angles are vertical, then they are congruent. Again, we don't need to do this, but I'm showing you how the proof works. So, given that angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles, they want us to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. So, start with my two-column proof. Like I said, that's what you'll see most of the time in this class. In one column is the statement. See, the other is justification or reason. Okay. So I'll start with the first, that angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles. Okay. I can say that because it's given. My second statement will be that angle 1 plus angle 3 equals 180 degrees. And that is angle addition postulate. The angle addition postulate. Don't mind my shorthand. Okay, I will also say that angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 180 degrees. That is also the angle addition postulate. And so then I could say, well, angle 2 plus angle 3 equals angle 1 plus angle 2. And so now I'm substituting. Okay, because 180 equals angle 2 plus angle 3, I'm going to write that there instead of 180 for this first equation. And so now I will subtract angle 2 from both sides. Or did I write that right? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I said 1 and 2 instead of 1 and 3, sorry. Okay, so I'm going to subtract angle 3 from both sides, and so now I see that angle 2 is equal to angle 1. Okay, by the subtraction property. So there, not that you have to prove every theorem if you're not asked to, but there's us proving the vertical angles theorem is true. Okay, we started off just knowing that they're vertical angles, and we're able to finish by saying that they are equal to each other. Alright, number 2, the second theorem that we'll look at, congruent supplements theorem. If two angles are supplements of the same angle, or of congruent angles, then the two angles are congruent, and that makes sense. If one's a supplement of if one angle is a supplement of an angle that's 70 and another is a supplement of it, then that means they're both 110. They have to be the same measurement. Okay, congruent complements theorem. If two angles are complements of the same angle, or if congruent angles, then the two angles are congruent. Okay, same thing, just changing whether it adds up to 180 or 90. Okay, all right angles are congruent. We know that right angles are 90 degrees. And if two angles are congruent and supplementary, congruent meaning they're equal to each other, supplementary meaning they add up to 180. So if you can divide, you know that they're both right angles. Alright, so those are the angle relationships that you need to be familiar with. And that was the last lesson of Unit 2. Alright, so hopefully through this lesson, through this unit, you're able to reason through some inductive reasoning, some deductive reasoning, and really a precursor for some of the proofs that we'll be doing later on. Alright, see you guys.